Welcome to Zero's Game Room, where all things gaming takes place. Interviews, discussions, and the latest gaming news. So take a seat, get comfortable, adjust your headset, because it's game time. Here's your host, Zero!
Welcome to Zero's Game Room, the podcast where we talk about all things gaming. Today, I have a very special guest, as for the most part, I have special guests, but today we're talking about a subject known as the Let's Play. Now, a lot of people on my show have talked about a Let's Play, but we haven't really actually dived into what a Let's Play actually is. So with me, I have a very nice, a very popular Let's Player by the name of Argonmatrix. Welcome to the show, Argon.
How's it going? I'm happy to be here. Thanks for bringing me on.
Of course, I would love to have you on here. I love your Let's Plays. I love what you do. But let's get down to business. What in the world is a Let's Play?
Okay. What is a Let's Play? Before we can define that, do you know what a video game is? A video
I think I know.
Game.
A video game. I pick up the control. Seeing as this is Zero's Game Room where we talk about
I should have gathered that, but I wasn't sure. I just wanted to be as clear as possible. So
yeah, let's be clear. Yes,
so
I know what a video game is.
So basically what a Let's Play is sort of what it sounds like in a way, is there's a person who wants to play through a game, but they don't necessarily want to just play through it on their own like most normal people would do, where they just sit down, pick up a controller, play their PS4, PlayStation 4. That's some nomenclature for you there, PS4. And they just play it by themselves. A Let's Play is more of an inclusive sort of thing that you can do on the internet. On many different sources. You can do a video Let's Play like many people do on YouTube. I think that'd be the most popular version. Or you can do like a screenshot Let's Play, a text playthrough. I might be getting a little ahead of myself, but there are a lot of different ways to do it. And basically what you do is you just play through the game as you normally would. You can do it very casually. You can do it very professionally with a lot of video editing and flair and different effects added. You can do it either informatively or sort of lackadaisically, like very casually. There's a lot of different things, and it's all up to you. Just you sort of inject your personality into the game, and then you just play through it, make some videos or however you want to do it, and invite people to sort of join in, watch, comment, maybe make some decisions or help make some decisions throughout the gaming process, so as to make it more interesting and inclusive in watching it. That's how I would define a Let's Play, honestly.
That's quite a good definition, I would say. You know, when I think about a Let's Play, it's kind of hard to define it, but that's pretty accurate. Now, how do you go about, like, what kind of things, maybe like equipment, I guess I should say, do you need to make a Let's Play?
Well, it depends on the Let's Play you're going for. We'll stick to probably the more popular and more well-known versions of the Let's Play, the video Let's Play, which is what most people would be accustomed to, because I imagine most people here come from YouTube or have seen stuff on YouTube of video game playthroughs. What you would need is something to, one, record your gameplay. Depending on where that gameplay is coming from, you could use various different software or hardware. If it's coming from like a console, like a PlayStation or a Nintendo console or an Xbox or whatever, you would need some sort of external capture card, is what they're called, to get the gameplay from the console to your computer and record it on there through various software. Or if you're doing a game on your computer itself, there's a lot of different software like Camtasia, XSplit, OBS Studio, things like that you can get to record the gameplay on there. So that's the first big part of it. The second big part of it is something to record your voice, record your commentary, and that doesn't need to be too crazy or anything. Like, usually the video aspect of things is the more expensive and intensive part of the process.
Right, because people are watching your Let's Plays if you're uploading them on YouTube.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So obviously, if they're watching a video of it, the video aspect of it is probably going to be the most important part. That being said, audio is a pretty essential part to it as well, because your video can look as crisp and clear as ever, 4K resolution, whatever you want it to be. But if it sounds like you're recording through a tin can, no one's going to want to watch, quite frankly. So, like, you have to invest a little bit. Like, honestly, just a $20 to $30, like, microphone, USB headset, anything like that.
Yeah, so that's definitely, you should look into. If you haven't and you want to start a Let's Play, voice recording, Audacity, it's free, and it's a pretty powerful program. There's a bunch of plugins for it too, but getting sidetracked from that, what are some of the equipment that you use other than, of course, Audacity to record your voice? Maybe the microphone, maybe the capture card, maybe some of the consoles you own?
Okay. The capture card that I use personally, it's called the Elgato capture card. It's a pretty popular one, I think. There's a couple different variations of it. But basically, it allows you to record from many of the more modern age consoles because it uses an HDMI port, which is what most things use to connect to the TV nowadays, like the PlayStation 4, the Wii U, Nintendo, things like that you can record from. I also have a Dazzle, which I think is a pretty good entry-level capture card if you don't have a ton of money to spend on an Elgato, because they are like a couple $100. A Dazzle is, from my experience, around 100 or a little bit less than 100, and you can't record any more modern age consoles from it, but you can record like maybe some of your favorite nostalgic games from the past, so that's a good investment. The microphone that I use is, I don't have a standalone microphone like a lot of people do. I have a headset microphone. It's a Turtle Beach gaming headset, which is...
oh, wow. It's coming in through pretty clear, though.
Yeah, it is pretty clear. You don't have to invest a ton in it, like I said. This one's a little more than what I started at Let's Playing with. It's... I think this one's probably like $70, $80 or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. It wasn't a ton, and it was enough. It was enough that I felt compelled to sort of invest in it because, like I said, audio is a pretty important part of this whole process. Yeah, and other than that, those are like the two main investments. Those are what I have, and I would recommend them highly to anyone. I've had no problems with them whatsoever. I mean, I have had some problems, but that's more to do with my computer than the actual equipment itself. I mean, the computer is a pretty important part of the equipment as well, to be honest with you, but...
yeah, especially because I own an Elgato, and I know sometimes, like, when it comes to processing or exporting a video, and that kind of goes in hand with Let's Playing. There's video editing. That's like the post-production, because you can record a video in your voice, but you kind of have to mix it all together, render it in a decent quality. So, yeah, I guess the PC is kind of...
that is a whole nother big step, yeah, and the PC is pretty integral in that process. Like, you don't have to have, like, the world's most heavy-duty, meaty setup in the world, but, like, you're going to have something a little more than, like, your dad's old Dell laptop or something. It's like, you're going to need to invest a little bit in that on that front. I haven't invested too much in my PC. I probably should upgrade it at some point, but it gets the job done.
Yeah, as of late, I actually built my own PC for the first time ever, and that was the whole experience of itself, but definitely has helped with the whole rendering process, recording process. Things move a lot quicker. But jumping back into Let's Plays, like, how do you decide what game do you want to play? And, like, is there a target audience, or do you kind of just go with what you feel, or what kind of goes into choosing a game that you want to Let's Play? Because, people are going to be watching this.
Well, for me personally, a lot of the decisions that I make towards games that I want to Let's Play comes from what I'm feeling at that moment in my life. Like recently, I've been doing a Let's Play of Bloodborne. That's because I've been getting into that game a lot lately, and I've been into the whole Dark Souls series, which is what that game is a part of.
Those are brutal, man. Those are brutal.
They're intense games, and I love every little bit of it. It's so good. Yeah, but that's the thing, is that, like, you probably want to play a game that you are in the mood to play, because if you're passionate about the game you're playing, people are going to be drawn towards that. They're going to want to watch the videos because they're like, wow, this guy's so passionate. And he's like, it's almost like intoxicating in a way, and like contagious almost. So,
oh yeah, I know that, because there's like sometimes I'll be watching somebody and I'll kind of just go on a binge spree, and I'm just like, whoa, when did that happen? It's just, I want to see the next episode.
Mm-hmm. That's a big part of it too. Yeah, that you'd be able to like just like draw people in, so they want to make them keep watching the next video and the next video, and like maybe even play through the game along with you if they're so into the game. They might see it and be like, hey, this looks like a really cool game. I might want to check it out myself. And so I can sort of play along and have my own experience with it.
Right, because each person is going to have their own experience. But what got you into Let's Playing? And about, maybe you don't know off the top of your head, but for how long have you been Let's Playing, and what got you into it?
Well, I have been Let's Playing. I think I started back in February of 2010, so it's been a while. It's been like 7+ years. So I'm from the OG school of Let's Playing, I guess.
OG school. Oh man, I remember those days.
Yeah, before all your Markipliers and PewDiePies and all that. There was us little folk. And what really got me into it, I don't know, honestly. It was mostly like boredom, I think. It was like I'd seen like some other Let's Players around at the time, some people who had been doing it for even longer than I have. Namely, there was Chugga Conroy and Nintendo Capri Sun that I watched on a pretty regular basis.
Oh my gosh. I would consider them potentially almost, maybe, at least for me, I would consider them to be like the veterans of Let's Plays. Them and Proton John.
Oh, yeah. They're like the great-grandfathers of Let's Play. Of course, there were people who were like one step beyond them. Like you can go back as far as like Slow Beef and Diabetes and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, those names. Oh my gosh, I'm getting some nostalgia just hearing those names. I haven't heard that name thrown around, Slow Beef, in like, oh my gosh,
he's still doing stuff around, actually. He's still streaming and everything. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, basically I had been watching people like that for maybe a year or so, and then I sort of was just like, hey, this could be kind of fun, and I think I could maybe do a decent job of it. I wasn't super confident at the time. I'm still not very confident now in my ability to like speak or communicate my thoughts in a clear way, but I thought it would be interesting, a fun way to pass the time in the middle of I was back in the middle of high school, so I didn't have too much to do other than high school and homework. I didn't have a job or anything. So yeah, I asked for like a Dazzle capture card for Christmas. I happened to get it, and here we are now.
Wow, the rest is history.
More or less.
And that, yeah, and so touching about like work and a job and stuff, how does that, you being a Let's Player, how do you balance, a job with this hobby? Because I'm assuming it takes a very long time to kind of produce an episode of a Let's Play, right? Or about how much time do you think you take into making an episode? Or,
well, it really depends on your style of Let's Playing. For me personally, it can take anywhere from like maybe 20 minutes to like an hour plus to just record the raw footage for an episode, depending on what game it is. And then from there, like you said, you have to go and bring it into like some sort of processing, editing software. Like I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I know a lot of people use like Sony Vegas and things like that. You have to take it in there. You have to edit it all together, make sure the voice is synced up with the gameplay so that it makes sense. And then do any sort...
Right, because you don't want to be in the middle of an episode you're talking about Mario jumping over a pit and you're like underwater.
Exactly, yeah. You have to... That's a pretty important part of it, honestly. It's easy to miss that, too, surprisingly enough. Yeah, and then you just sort of have to edit it together. Depending on how much flair you want to put into it, you might have to spend... I know there's people out there who put a lot of very intensive stuff. They put a lot of information into it, or they put a lot of different video effects in it. And it can take them upwards of several hours to even several days of work for some people to edit just one video of a Let's Play, depending on how much they want to do with it. For me, it's not quite that intensive, because I do have a job and I have to sort of prioritize my time and sanction it out in various little pieces so I know how much I can get done in an allotted period of time. And so it usually just takes me I just sort of watch little bits of the video to make sure that nothing looks messed up and that that I'm speaking correctly and it's all synced up and good. And then I just sort of have to export it out. And probably the exporting part is the part that takes the longest for me, because for a 20-minute video, it can take maybe an hour or so to render out. And that's more to do with my computer than anything else. More intense computer could do it a lot faster. So that would be an investment that I would look into if I wanted to save some time on that front. But for me, from start to finish, from the start of recording to the point that it's on YouTube and watchable, probably the average episode would take I want to say 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, that's probably it for me. And then obviously your internet speed kind of comes into play at some point, because you have to upload it to the internet, and however big the file is, that'll take some time. Right, of course. Yeah. So to be able to balance all of that with the job, getting back to the central question at hand, I got a little sidetracked there.
No, it's okay.
Being able to balance all that with a job and other free time, I spend time with my friends and doing various other things, focusing on my future and school and whatever. It's a lot to juggle all at once, and sometimes I don't do as good of a job of it as I probably could. get some pretty late nights a lot of the time, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. kind of thing.
Oh, brother.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure we've all been there. I think every Let's Player has.
I think we've all been there. Yeah, if you're a Let's Player, it's kind of maybe a little bit of a passage into the Let's Play world. You want to stay up and just make sure it's uploaded and you get it done.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to stick to a certain upload schedule or something, and you just need to get it done for the next day, even if you have to work at like 6 a.m. It's like,
has that happened to you?
I never have to work quite that early. The earliest I ever work is like 8 a.m. I think, but yeah, I've done some bad stuff like that. But I think it's honestly it's worth it for me personally, because it's such a nice passion project. Like for me, it's mostly been a hobby up to this point. I'm trying to maybe make it something into a bit of something more than that, something that could almost resemble maybe a second job at some point in the future. But yeah, it's a tough grind to get it all done, and if you can do it, if you can manage to balance it, very much credit to you, honestly. Because like if you can do that and maybe take it somewhere someday, like you never know where it's going to lead you to, like because there are a lot of people out there who do Let's Plays or stream playthroughs, which are effectively the same as Let's Plays. They do it like full time. They can do it for their job, so they don't have to balance a job, and that is their job, so they can put so much more time into it. So yeah, it could lead to that. You never know. If you have the time to dedicate to it, go for it, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely would love, to pursue that more. But of course, like you said, school kind of comes first. And you kind of touched base a little bit of what I was going to ask next. How do you keep up that like workflow? Like what makes you like get up in the morning and be able to be like, I need to record an episode today? And you talked a little bit about how like it's a passion. Mm-hmm.
Well, honestly, a lot of what keeps me going with it, and this is going to be harder for someone who's just first getting into Let's Playing if they're just like starting literally from zero, which everyone did at some point. But a lot of what keeps me going is like the community that's sort of built up around it. Not even just around my videos, but around the whole idea of Let's Plays in general. And like I go like online, like wake up in the morning, I go online, I see maybe some like comments on videos of mine that sort of like let me know like, hey, this was awesome, or like you missed this thing in this one game, you idiot. And it's like it's like even comments like that though, it's like getting any sort of feedback like that is kind of what makes me want to keep going. It's like I want to produce content for these people because they're anticipating it. They want to see what comes next. They want to see this thing from me. And so I really just don't want to disappoint them. So I try to do whatever it takes and whatever I can within reason to make that happen. And
that's good workflow. Oh yeah, keep going.
Oh no, it's okay. I was just gonna say, and it's like and it's also kind of inspiring to see other people doing the same sort of thing. Like you see all these other big Let's Players out there. There's so many out there now, and you see just how consistent and professional they are about it, and they just keep on going. And it's like, man, I want to be like that. I want to be like that one day where I upload like 1 to 2 videos a day or whatever, and just can keep people happy. And it's a nice goal to strive for, I think. And yeah, that's all I can say about it. It's just a big passion, honestly.
So do you really think, like, I guess this would be like the last question. Can anybody be a Let's Player? Can anybody, if the passion is there, can anybody be a Let's Player?
I think if you want to, you can be a Let's Player, yes. It takes, obviously everyone's situation is different. Some people might be at a point in their lives where it's more difficult or easier to juggle Let's Playing into their schedule along with however many other things they have to do. Like if you're in school or whatever, or you have a job, then it can obviously be a little more intense. If you're sort of in between things and you have a lot of free time, it could be a little easier. Also depends on how much like money you have access to invest in certain things. But if you're really passionate about it and you just really like get into it and understand what you have to do in order to be somewhat successful in this regard, I think anyone can do it. Yes.
With just a little bit of time, dedication, and maybe, like you said, a little bit of money, a little investment, it could happen, and you create this community. And I think you're right. That should be the driving force, making people happy. So not only are you being entertaining, you're making people happy.
Exactly. Yeah. You make other people happy, and those people being happy makes you feel happy. And it's just a nice, warm feeling, not to get too lovey-dovey, but
Yeah, it's just so happy.
So happy.
Anybody who knows like Nintendo Capri Sun should understand what that is. So happy with the Yoshis.
Yoshi.
Oh, Yoshi. Well, thank you, Argon, for coming on to Zero's Game Room. It's been a blast. Maybe I can have you on in the future. How does that sound?
I'd be happy with that, man. It's been a good time. I've been happy to sort of talk about this, share my quote-unquote expertise with people out there.
I would say so, and this hopefully has inspired people to maybe give Let's Playing a shot. You know, this could be potentially an episode that gives that person that extra oomph, and they go out and give it a shot.
It's possible, yeah, and even if not, even if you're not into making Let's Plays yourself, hey, come watch. We're always looking for new people to participate in the comment section or anything like that.
All the info for Argon's Twitter and his YouTube will be in the description of this episode. But thank you so much again, Argon.
Anytime, my man, anytime.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Zero's Game Room. Want to give a special thanks to my graphics designer at Trekit on Twitter and at David_Ritter for voicing my intro. Keep up to date with the podcast by liking it on Facebook at Zero's Gaming Room and on Twitter at Zero's Game Room. Until next time, GG with a definite re.